The city of Johannesburg says it's awaiting results of tests conducted on water samples following reports of contaminated water in Diepsloot, northwest of Johannesburg. Joburg Water spokesperson Millicent Kabwe says initial tests conducted on Friday, when the contamination was first reported, came back negative. This means there was no contamination or E. coli found in the water samples. She says more tests were conducted yesterday and results will be released later today. Kabwe says people have heeded the call to avoid drinking contaminated water, and there haven't been any reported cases of people who have fallen sick so far. One person has been killed and 4 others injured after an accident involving 2 vehicles in Unitas Park in Vereniging on the Vaal. It's alleged the 2 vehicles that were travelling in the same direction collided and overturned several times. Netcare 911's Jeff Wicks elaborates.
They collided, then veered from the road, rolling several times before coming to rest approximately 30 metres from the carriageway. One man had died as a result of injuries he sustained. Another was in a serious condition. Of the second vehicle, 2 people had sustained serious injuries, and a woman, heavily entrapped in the rear, was in a critical condition. All were treated and stabilised at the scene by medics and transported by ambulance to the Sebokeng State Hospital for further treatment.
South Africa is losing lives along with about 3 billion rand a year due to stress in the workplace. Human resources experts say stress levels in the South African workplace are at their highest, with about 22 people committing suicide daily. The World Health Organization puts the suicide rate in South Africa at 23 out of 107 countries. Human resource expert and co-founder of the People Element, Vicky Erickson, says the situation demands an immediate and considered intervention.
I think we're all responsible. We need to really stand up and say, okay, we have a problem in this country. We have a problem in South African workplaces, and we need to recognize it. And companies need to really help their employees to function better, both from a work and a personal point of view, because the two go hand in hand.
Further afield, the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon says an observer mission being sent to Syria to monitor the ceasefire will require complete freedom of movement and access. The truce came into effect on Thursday. And finally, a memorial service has been held at the spot in the Atlantic Ocean where the cruise ship Titanic sank after hitting an iceberg exactly a century ago. A modern cruise ship has retraced the route of the Titanic's final voyage. Its passengers said prayers and listened in silence as the names of more than 1,500 people were read out, those who died when the Titanic went down. A relative of one of them, Jane Allen, said it made her realize what the passengers had gone through.
You're 400 miles minimum from anywhere. It's just so unearthly quiet. And then you look down over the side of the ship and you realise that every man and every woman who wasn't fortunate enough to get into a lifeboat had to make that decision of when to jump or to stay with the ship until the lights went out. And when the lights went out, it must have been horrendous. We've witnessed that.